one of the controllers started counting out the altitudes. And he says, my God, he's going down at 8,000 feet a minute. Now it's 10,000 feet a minute. And he counted off 8, 6, 4, and he says, my God, he's in the ground on the next hit. And somebody said, no, that's the Trade Center right there.
At 9:03 a.m., on the 77th floor of the South Tower, Florence Jones, who works for Baseline Financial, looks out the window.
I could see straight across the floor, which was all glass. And I could not figure out, on a bright, sunny, cloudless day, what this black thing was that was approaching the building.
4 floors above Florence, Stanley Premnath, a loan officer with Fuji Bank, is in his office on the 81st floor.
And for no apparent reason, I just raised my head, watching towards the harbor, the Statue of Liberty, and what I saw was a giant aircraft come in eye contact, eye level towards me. I dropped the phone, screamed, and for no apparent reason, I don't know why I said this, Lord, I can't do this, you take over.
The passengers right at the end were just looking at buildings, just screaming by at the speeds they were going. It must have just been a blur.
The hijacker who was piloting the plane seemed to be having some problem keeping it on a straight course for the South Tower.
And at the last minute, he tilted the plane to make sure he caught it. I mean, maybe he was afraid he was going to miss it and just get with the wing.
It had to be a coordinated turn to get that jet back in position. If he hadn't made that correction, he would have either missed the building altogether or just knocked his left wing off as he went by. But what he did was start the turn. We saw the end result of it.
If you were on the left-hand side of that airplane, you saw those trade centers coming right up, and then felt that last sudden turn, you knew you were going in.
At 9:03 a.m., Peter Hansen is still on the phone with his dad.
But the television set was on, and
I turned it on.
And all of a sudden, Peter said, very softly, and said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I think I heard a woman scream, and then nothing. Turned the television, a plane crashed into the World Trade Center, and it was their plane. And so...
And all I could say was, oh, I couldn't scream, couldn't cry, couldn't yell. All I said is, oh no.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
And as we're watching it, the second plane went into the second tower.
And you could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway.
We were just in a state of shock. Everybody just stopped talking. I have never been in the room with the controllers where not one word was said, and not one word was said.
It takes only 17 minutes. 17 minutes between the crash of American Flight 11 and United Flight 175 for everyone to understand what is happening.
That was the critical moment, and I think that's when everybody realized that our country's under attack.
Air Force pilots Duff and Nasty are 100 miles off the coast of Long Island, waiting for confirmation of their target, which they still think is American Flight 11.
Call for bogey up again, trying to get some information. And at that point, they said the second aircraft just hit the World Trade Center. That was news to me. I thought we were still chasing American 11.
See the smoke from the buildings probably 100 miles away because it was a very clear day.
United 175 strikes the 77th through 85th floors of the South Tower, killing all on board and hundreds in the building above or near the impact. Amazingly, there are a few survivors right at the point of impact.
This impact was so great that I got temporarily deaf. Couldn't hear anything. And this song was so loud, so excruciating. It was like steel being ripped against steel.
You could feel this thing being absorbed into the building and realizing that whatever it was, it stopped 4 feet over my head.
And I'm hiding under this desk in a fetal position. And what I saw was a plane tilted and the bottom wing is hung in my office door 20 feet from where I am. And the wing starts to burn. I couldn't see the rest of the plane. And I'm saying to myself, I have to get out of here as fast as possible.
As survivors in the South Tower desperately try to escape, air traffic controllers in New York and Boston are taking drastic measures.
We were ordered to put everybody on the ground because you did not trust anything that was in the air. And you did not know what was going to happen. And some of the controllers saying this is a national emergency. You got to land, don't open your cockpit door for nothing.
Today we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
The worst thing for me was for 20 minutes watching this plot unfold. We were able to watch the most horrific terrorist act ever done to the United States, and just being able to do nothing but watch it go on.
It was strange because we're watching it, but yet we're kind of detached, you know, from being up in the air, like you said, kind of by ourselves, knowing that there's all that chaos on the ground.
We were going to stay over Manhattan and do whatever we needed to over Manhattan. We didn't, they were not going to pull us off of Manhattan.
I remembered thinking, what's coming next? Is it going to stop at just these 2 buildings, or is there something more going on here?
By 9:55 a.m. in the South Tower, survivors are making their way down, using the only stairwell not destroyed by the impact.
It was very dangerous in the stairwell. Gosh, I think I passed the fireman. And I remembered saying to him, I'm not sure why you're going up there, but be very, very careful. You know, we definitely wished him Godspeed.
We got down to the ground floor. Our skin was, our clothes was drenched. Our shoe was all slushy with water from the sprinkler system. Water was running down the staircase. The only people we saw was the firefighters and cops and the EMS workers.
At 9:59 a.m., firefighters in the South Tower are starting to reach the 78th floor, in time to find other people trapped and alive. But it's too late.
The second building that was hit by the plane has just completely collapsed. The entire building has just collapsed.
The whole side has collapsed?
The whole building has collapsed.
The whole building has collapsed?
The building has collapsed.
My God.
Folded down on itself, and it is not there anymore.
10 seconds, and it's gone. They actually could measure the impact of that building falling down, and the earth, it actually traveled through the ground up hundreds of miles and was registered in seismic devices as far north as Maine. You know, it shook the earth, literally, and it shook our reality.
All I could see was, you know, southern Manhattan just covered in smoke. It took me, you know, until Duff said, I think the tower collapsed.
To see this thing just falling away from me, and then I realized what was going on. It's absolutely the sickest feeling I've ever had in a plane.
9:59 a.m., just 56 minutes after United Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower, there is nothing but a pile of smoking rubble and twisted debris.
That was the certainty of it, that there could be nothing that could have survived that. When you think of the impact of those planes, you think of the fuel, the fire, you think of everybody in those towers. It just left you no reason to hope at that point.
Oh my God, there it goes!
Almost 30 minutes later, the North Tower collapses. Thousands are feared dead or missing, and America is left reeling from the deadliest attack in its history.
Oh God, there goes the other one. Oh. Look at it, John. Look at it. Oh, there goes the other one. Oh, God.
The television images of this plane flying into that building will go down as one of those seminal moments in history. We as a nation, and as a world, frankly, shared the horror of that moment together, live, as it happened. That's never happened before.
It's a day I'll never forget, and I know a lot of my coworkers, probably everybody in this country, will never forget. But that's a day that, like I said, we knew before the world knew.
For Hartling and Bottiglia, who handled Flight 175, their job has never been the same.
Every time an airplane didn't answer, I would jump up. If a code was changed, I would jump up screaming at the supervisor. It is taking a very long time for me to just be able to sit down.
And you continue to press on. It's just because you have to do it. I'm proud to be in air traffic control and I'm very proud of the people that I work with.
Today, the lines of communication between air traffic control and the military have been strengthened. Air traffic controllers are trained to immediately report suspicious aircraft to NORAD, who now regularly have fighter jets on alert in the air. If there is a potential threat, pilots are trained to intercept the aircraft and try to get it to land. Shooting down a hostile aircraft is the last resort. The fighter pilots who scrambled that day to intercept the hijacked planes did not have that option.
We reacted as fast as we could, went as fast as we could, and it just wasn't enough.
There's so many what ifs and what would you have done, and I really don't dwell on them because personally I don't think anything would have changed a whole lot even if we had been 5 or 6 minutes earlier.
The final moments of Flight 175 will continue to haunt all those affected by it, but perhaps none so deeply as the families who lost loved ones.
Every time I look at it and I see that plane coming in, I'm watching my son die.
Bobby didn't know he was on the front lines that morning when he got on Flight 175. I'd have to think that it happened so fast that he wasn't aware until maybe the very last second, which was too late.
I would like to have the world know that Peter, Sue, and Christine are an example of what this country lost that day. One whole family. We shall never forget what happened on September 11, 2001.